Hi, this is Odds v Elo. My name is John Chong, and this is a Polymarket live betting bot, excuse me, that places live trades on the World Cup. I built this to try to test whether a kind of naive bot built on like some Elo models could make money when betting against fans if it did it basically all on its own. Um, this is the basic theory, right? The World Cup is kind of a unique event, which brings in a lot of new and unique bettors, which might not have a lot of experience. It also has a lot of hype around it as the world's premier sporting event. So, and there's a lot of data density of previous matches in soccer that are at its ELO model. So, I thought this was kind of an interesting. If you're going to test something like this, it would be a kind of good possible way of making money. So, uh, So I used three models blended together. One was EloRatings.net, another was Haikuben model stash of someone's own repo that they used, and another was Nate Silver runs a model called Pele. He's a famous political forecaster who also kind of gets into sports. So we blended those three, then we compare it to the market price. Then it sizes bets based on how much of an edge there may be versus the ELO, and it kind of puts the bets across a batch of the nearest, I think, 5 or 6 games, places those bets appropriately sized, and then those came back, and then it would replace bets on every next run on the next 5 or 6 batches. There's a little bit more info on the model, individual models. This is the last 3 bets that were made. Thankfully, it you can see this more in back testing, but it had a tendency to place more on underdogs just because I think the favorites tended to have more hype around them. So we got lucky on the last 2 matches because the underdogs won. Um, Spain and Argentina was the underdog, but I guess the model bet on it anyway. So England was overhyped. We won both of the semifinal bets, and our final bet is still in progress, waiting for that to happen on Sunday. Let's see. So this is our batching strategy. I there were choices to be made about how aggressive to act. Initially, the model wanted to bet the entire tournament at once, which was complicated for 2 reasons. One was that the markets didn't exist on Polymarket from the beginning because obviously the tournament schedule hadn't been filled in with the team names yet. And two, I wanted to be more aggressive and have, in order to get more of an idea on the actual edge, I figured if there was an actual edge to be had, batching it and having, the entire portfolio amount bet each time, say every day or two would, have a more compounding results and maybe have a more dramatic, profit or loss either way. So that's why I had a batch instead of betting the entire tournament at a time. And there were like some hard caps on how much it could bet on each individual match, how much percentage wise of the entire bankroll. I think it's 35% on each individual match. I left that kind of high, to stay somewhat aggressive, only because this was all a test of, the concept, not necessarily like fine tuning on, how well we could do, right? So it was very risk tolerant, as a financial instrument. By the way, I have no history in. I don't have a large history in finance itself. I've done individual stock market picks, and I've done prediction market for the last 10 or 15 years. So I do have history with those. Okay, so this is a little bit of back testing we did. It bucketed them by like how much of an underdog they were that we were betting on. This isn't 50-50 because a lot of it is split it into win, lose, draw. So typically it was 33% was the basic, the basis. So the super underdogs were only 15%. We ran some bugs. This is kind of an AI coded project. I have a history of Python, but I didn't really double check most of the stuff. I had it run on its own. This is a month-old project, by the way, even though I'm submitting it to the hackathon. Whether that, if that, I hope you'll continue to look at it anyways and consider it. But our main bugs were I had this running on a desktop that got unplugged a couple times and had to restart. Not unplugged, had to restart, and that caused outages that lasted days on end a couple times before they were noticed. The profit and loss was tough for the AI to compute until I had it look specifically line by line. So that was a big fix we had to make. The scheduling at one point also bet on a live match after, there were also already uh, goals completed, and we lost $100 or so there at one point. So the total amount, by the way, we started with $1,000. I need to show you the full breakout next. So let's go to that. This is Polymarket. This is my WorldCup bot. So we are at $1,158. We started with 1,000. Here's the profit loss from the beginning. We were up to 1,600 at one point, and then down to I think 400 at one point. That was pretty bad, but we recovered. As you can see, this is our trading history. Actually, this is the one. Let me show you the one with the wins losses. That's kind of more instructive, right? So in our group stages, we had a lot of early losses, but then we had some underdog wins that paid off. This one was a huge payoff. For whatever reason, that's on a big edge and paid off. More losses, a win here and there. Again, this is betting on underdogs. Our losses were small, but our wins were big. And then you have our most recent, Argentina and Spain wins here. And then our current bets, on the final and on the third place bets. So, yeah, hope you like this project. I plan to do more back testing. When another back testing thing I didn't get a slide on was when the bet was placed. Placing it early apparently was the biggest, differentiator on outcome that the model flagged already. But I'm doing further back testing. I hope that maybe I'll use this again in 2030 or try it on other software projects. Anyways, again, my name is Jonathan Tong. My GitHub and LinkedIn are on the submission project. But in case you don't have those, my GitHub is JJChong5. That's CHONG. JJCHONG5. And my LinkedIn is JJSCHONG. Thank you.